There are two parts in reviewing the catalog. In the first part, we will review features of the catalog. In the second part, we will go over the properties that make up the catalog. Let's start by reviewing what a catalog is. A catalog is a collection of products categorized for management and purchasing. By categorizing products into categories and housing it into a catalog, it's easier to browse and search. So, in Commerce Server, a catalog is known as a base catalog. A virtual catalog is built upon one or more base catalogs. An example of using virtual catalogs is aggregation. You can combine one or more categories or products into a virtual catalog, as well as the entire catalog. If you're selling products from multiple suppliers, each of which send you one or more catalogs, you can combine them into one aggregated catalog. Virtual catalogs. You can create a virtual catalog from one or more base catalogs. You can also create a virtual catalog from another virtual catalog. An example would be you have one base catalog that contains all of your products, but you only sell certain products to certain customers. In this scenario, let's say we sell products to consumers and private organizations, and not all products are available to consumers. You create a virtual catalog from your base catalog and include all the products. Next, you create a virtual catalog from the organization catalog and only include the products that are available to consumers. This organization makes it simple to manage the catalog and easier for customers to browse your site. Catalog sets allow you to organize multiple catalogs into groups. Then you can target users and assign catalog sets to them. As mentioned earlier, all catalogs have one or more categories to organize your products. Categories can further be organized by subcategorizing. You can rank catalog objects, categories, products, etc. to modify which catalog object appears first. You can perform bulk operations as well as import and export catalog data into XML files. And finally, search your catalog objects. Now let's take a look at a demo of what you've learned. Let's take a look at the starter site. In this demo, I've downloaded and installed the starter site as well as import the catalog for the starter site. So this is the basic starter site, and if you navigate to products, the AdventureWorks catalog is displayed to you with categories. If I navigate to categories, I see the products that are within this category. So the sleeping bag has 4 products in it. And if I navigate to products, I see a detail of the product and a description. Let's take a look at how you organize products using the catalog manager. So here's the AdventureWorks catalog, and it contains products as well as categories. So if we navigate to a category, we will see the products that are existed inside the category. So as we mentioned earlier, what a catalog is, this is the AdventureWorks catalog that houses products and categories that are associated and organized within this catalog. The AdventureWorks catalog is a base catalog. We also discussed virtual catalogs. So let's go ahead and create a virtual catalog based on the scenario we presented earlier. Before going any further, let's discuss a few things about the catalog manager. The catalog manager is comprised of tasks, views, and some detail. It has a tree navigation as well as a display of products and category. You can further have a preview pane of the objects that are selected. Notice that I've selected the catalog, the AdventureWorks catalog, and I'm presented with tasks that are available for this catalog and a preview of my catalog. If I navigate to a product, notice that the tasks are changed as well as the preview. And again, if I navigate to a category, again, the category and the tasks are changed for me. So you navigate catalogs and categories in the tree pane, and then you manage the categories and products in the detail pane. You can also manage categories as well as catalogs in the tree pane as well. So we mentioned earlier that we're going to create a virtual catalog. Let's create our virtual catalog. In the scenario we had earlier, we had two virtual catalogs. The first virtual catalog contained all the products in our AdventureWorks that will be available to organizations, but not all of those products are available to consumers. So the first catalog, the first virtual catalog, is going to be our organization catalog. Oops, and I've misspelled the organization. Okay. Continue. Continue next. Keep the language as is. We'll come back to this later. And you're presented in the final stage with the changes that are going to be occurred. Create our catalog. And finish. Next, we're going to create another virtual catalog for consumers. Again, continue. Next, and create. And finish. So now we have a organization catalog and a consumer catalog. Let's go ahead and add the AdventureWorks catalog. We're going to choose the AdventureWorks catalog. Continue next. We want this to be an include rule. I'll explain these in a little bit. And finish. Let's save and close this. If we refresh this, we can see the changes in our organization catalog. Okay, and there's all of the products that are there. Next, let's go to the consumer catalog. In the consumer catalog, let's only include sleeping bags and boots. Let's go to our rules. Choose next. We're going to choose the organization catalog. So choose organization catalog, and we're going to search for boots. There's boots category. Select that. Continue. We're going to make sure this is an include rule. Select add. And this time we're going to select the sleeping bags. and another include rule. Finish, save and close. Let's go ahead and refresh our consumer catalog. And there it is. So we have sleeping bags and we have boots. So let's navigate to the starter site. And click on products. And now we have the AdventureWorks catalog, the organization catalog, and the consumer. So if we go to organization catalog, so the organization catalog has the same structure as the AdventureWorks catalog. If we go to our consumer catalog, the consumer catalog has sleeping bags and boots as the categories in there. Now, this is the starter site, and the way the starter site displays, it displays all catalogs regardless of who you are. So let's actually create catalog sets, and then we'll create some users and then assign these organizations in the consumer catalog to the users, so that when you log into the site, only the catalogs that are available to you will be displayable. So let's go to our catalog manager. So to create a catalog set, the catalog management is done either in the view. So the view is modified based on what you click. So if I click on catalogs, I see the catalog hierarchy. If I choose catalog sets, I see the catalog sets. If I go into inventory catalogs, and I'll explain this in another video tutorial, you'll see a different view. So let's go to catalog sets and create a new catalog. So we create a static and call this Acme org, and this is our organization catalog. Save and close. Then we create a new one, and in this one we call it consumer catalog, or consumer users, or consumers, and choose the consumer catalog. Save and close. So now we're gonna venture off a little bit into another tool to associate users created on the site and assigning the catalog sets. Catalog sets can be done either programmatically. In a later video tutorial, I'll display and show you how you can programmatically create catalog sets, catalogs and such, as well as assign them to users. So let's create two users on the site, one an org user and another a consumer. So if I go to my account, let's create an account. Click continue. So now we've created a successful user. Let's go ahead and log out. Now we're going to create a second user. continue. And create our second account and continue. Okay, so now I'm logged in, but if I go to products, I see all three catalogs. Let's go ahead and associate the catalog set to this user so that we can only see the consumer catalog. We're going to use the customer and order manager to view all of the customers and then set the association between the catalog sets to the user. So let's navigate to profiles. So let's search as active accounts. There should be only 3 of them. So here is, I should have named this a little bit differently. So let's look at the preview. This is not it. This is the user we're looking for, the consumer. Yep. So let's open this profile. So notice that here it says user catalog set. Here now I have my consumer catalog. Let's save and close this. Okay. Let's close this application. Let's go to our site. Let's refresh. I have to do an IS reset to set the cache. So now let's refresh the site. Okay, so notice that only sleeping bags and boots are available to me because the catalog associated to my user is the consumer catalog and only has boots and sleeping bags. So this was a crash course into familiarizing you with the catalog manager and all the different pieces, and probably it was a bit too much to give you in the very beginning, but I wanted to make sure that you understood some of the concepts before we dive deep and actually in detail go over each one. So actually let's pick the AdventureWorks catalog and the virtual catalogs as well as then categories and products and really understand those. So we say that the AdventureWorks catalog organized all the products, but let's take a look at the properties that are available to us in a catalog. By default you have a catalog name, a start and end date. These start and end date really isn't used, but you can use this in your code to review certain to actually perform some kind of a business rule on these properties. But the APIs within the catalog manager as well as the site doesn't really use these. The variant ID and the product ID, these are identifiers that identify a product. So for AdventureWorks, SKU is the identifying marking for a product. And then a variant ID is the variant code, and we'll talk about what a variant is, but this is the identifier for the variant. And the currency for this catalog is set for US dollar, and a weight measure is set for pounds. Now these are the internal properties for a catalog. You can extend and add your own properties here, and they would be available to you in the custom properties section. Languages that are available within this catalog, there's 4 of them. There's Japanese, French, English, and Deutsch before German. The default language is set for English, and the reporting language is also set for English. So, dependent catalogs. Notice that we had created these virtual catalogs earlier. So these catalogs depend on this base catalog, and it's displayed here to easily let you know which catalogs have dependencies. And then if there is a inventory catalog here as well, and again this will be explained to you in another video tutorial. So these are the properties that make up a catalog. Now let's go over some of the category properties. So we say that the category houses products, but it can also store other categories as well. So here's a category nesting between supplies and stoves. Notice that the stove has a category as well as products, and then the stove has two additional products, just a way to organize the data. Let's take a look at the category properties. So the category properties have base properties, which is a category name and a definition, and we'll go over what a definition is. Basically, a definition defines properties within this. So a display name, the display will be displayable on the site, is sleeping bags. A list price, if there was one for the category, and if we are marking this category as searchable, and then a quick description of what this category is. Now you can extend this category and add, same as the catalog, and add your own properties here, and those properties will be available here. The default structure of the AdventureWorks catalog has the image height, image width, file name, and brand included here. Category association. So if you wanted to associate categories, subcategories, or assign this as a subcategory to another category, you would do it in here. If you were to take a look at the stove and category association, its parent category is supplies. If we go to supplies, its child categories is stove. Product associations, you can associate products in here. So notice that the supplies has one product. This product association gives you a very quick and easy view of the products that are here, so you don't have to move this window back and forth to see what's behind it. Category relationships. So the category relationship can be used as a cross-sell, upsell, and some other features that you may have in your site. Basically here you can group products and categories. Here we've grouped two categories. If we go to our sleeping bag, I believe we have some, yes, we have another relationship that shows the category in here. And then finally we have the language. Notice that the catalog had 4 languages, and that was English, Deutsch for German, French, and Japanese. Sorry that I don't have the language installed, and therefore the Japanese language is not displaying correctly. So if we were to actually, let's go to the base properties and then change this to German. Notice that the properties are modified for you in the language. And if we go to French, the language, the French properties are displayed here, as well as the all of the descriptions that for these fields are modified for you. Let's go back to English. So you can associate in the AdventureWorks catalog and create other languages, and then they'll be available here for you. If the property is a multilingual property, you can then rename the display name in the language so that when a user is browsing your catalog, they understand what it means. So let's take a look at the product. The product basically has the same tabs that we saw in the categories. It has the language. The same languages are available for categories as well as products. And again, the base properties are displayed in this page. And these are some of the properties that has been defined for display name as well as the price. Should it be using the category pricing, the name, as well as the description of what this is. Now you can create custom properties, and those custom properties will be defined here. For example, this property defines if this product is on sale or not, and then as well as having image information associated here. The product is further defined by variants. What it means is that this product is a product family, and then it varies based on price and color. So an example would be is that if I went to a retail online store and I had jeans, the jeans would be available in different colors as well as sizes, and they could be priced differently because a lot more material is used as well as color on the jeans. So that would be variants. There would be one product called jeans, let's say in this case 501 Levi's, but the sizes are different. For example, for the waist and length, a 32 waist and a 32 length pants would be displayable here, as well as the different sizes as well as colors. So that's what a variant is. So here we have our product, Big Sur, and it's blue. So if we wanted to, you can add a different variant and make this into red. Change the price to $201 and call it Big Sur red, and give it a variant ID of 4. You can then go to the category association where this product resides. This product can reside in multiple categories. It doesn't have to reside in one category. So you could add additional categories. So if you add this, now the product at the Big Sur is in multiple categories. Product relationships. Again, you could use this for cross-sell, upsell. A scenario would be is, let's say you're selling computers, and when you go to the product detail page, you want to then use a relationship to do an upsell for printers, because you just bought a computer, as well as some other peripherals that you may have, and you can do that here as well. So when you click add and search for products, either products or categories, search for products, and I find actually let's get this one. Then you'll name this relationship, and then this will be displayable on the site. Of course, you have to code this on the site to be able to displayable. And then of course you have the variant inventory properties. Again, we'll go over the inventory in a different video. So I'm not going to save anything. I'm going to close it. So now let's take a look at virtual catalogs. So again, when you see the virtual catalog, same as the catalog before, the languages can be very independent and be different of each other. By clicking on add language, you can choose from various languages that are available to you. For custom properties, if you extended the the virtual catalog. The information will be displayable here. For rules, there are 3 types of rules within this virtual catalog. There is, actually, let's take a look at a quick sample. So there's a include rule, meaning that include whatever I selected before. So I chose the AdventureWorks catalog, so that would be an include rule. Or I could go back and choose a very specific, for in this case, a specific category, and then I can say choose next, and I'll say exclude. When I do this and I rebuild this consumer catalog, if that product was included in this catalog, it will now be overridden and then be excluded. You can do this for products as well. You can choose a very specific product, and if this product is associated with a category or a catalog, and you can exclude this. And finally, pricing rule. The pricing rule that you can apply actually overrides the base catalog's price information. You can set it as a discount value, the price amount. It could be a set price. You could say it's just for $10. You can add $10 on top of what the original price was in the base catalog. Add a percentage. So this would, if you include 5, it'll be like an upcharge. It'll add 5% on top of whatever the base price was. A discount percentage, they will take off a percentage off, and the no charge price would not charge anything. So actually, let's set a set price of $10. And let's take a look at, we chose ACES. Just continue and finish. Actually, let's remove this and create a product from the boots category. Let's choose Dune and set its pricing to be $10. Let's save and close. So now if we go to boots, the Dune price is set for $10. If I go, since this was a consumer, if I go to my organization and I go to boots and I go to Dunes, notice that the price is $98. So you can modify the properties of the base catalog in here as well. So if I go to my sleeping bags and I go to Big Sur, so I just modified the display name. If I save and close, notice the display name is changed here, but if I go to my AdventureWorks catalog, the Big Sur is not modified. So here it is. So you can actually override properties, not just price, on the virtual catalogs. So we've pretty much gone over everything in here. Let's actually take a look at one thing. Refresh site cache. When you click this button, basically what happens is that it will make a call to the startup site, the website, and it will clear the cache, the catalog cache. Purge deleted items. if I go and I delete this product, then the item is deleted from the catalog. But we do remember the product ID in which catalog it was deleted, so that when you're staging this product or importing, exporting, you can excuse me, you can export the deleted products as well, so that let's say your staging environment can also delete the product. Purging will actually go and purge all of the products that are in the deleted table. This is actually a table that we store. Sequencing products and categories. We mentioned that we could do ranking. So if you click the sequence button, this is the organization catalogs, and we are in the categories, and you can actually sequence products and move them up and down. You have to highlight the whole row in order to move it up and down. And then you can go to the products and do the same thing for the products. You can navigate to categories and then sequence the products within this category as well. So let's go back to so importing and exporting catalogs. We mentioned earlier that you could do a bulk operation. The UI does not have a bulk operation, meaning that I can select more than one product and then do a bulk edit on this. I can do a bulk delete it, but I can't do a bulk edit. The product group did not have enough time to incorporate that feature into the UI, but the APIs do exist, so you could go download the partner SDK in Catalog Manager, modify it, and implement your own bulk operation. But you can also export and import catalogs. So for example, the AdventureWorks catalog, if we export this catalog, it will be exported into a XML file. Let's dump this to our desktop. And we're going to do a full type. So there are incremental, meaning that from the start date, choose all the products that have been modified and only export those out. Or you can do expression based. In the expression based, basically you give it a query that tells the catalog system what to export. Here we're going to choose full, and we're going to choose the English language. Let's choose next. Before doing so, let's choose advanced. The advanced will give you additional windows when you're choosing next. Here you can choose the export schema. We don't want any schema, or we want only relevant, meaning that whatever has been modified will be exported. Remember we talked about the exporting deleted items. So if I had deleted the product and chose this, that item would be deleted. Export blank values. If I had empty values for my products or categories, they could also be exported. Export catalog sets. Since I created catalog sets here and I wanted to push this into my production, I would choose export catalog sets. You could further define very specific properties that are available to you and export those out. Let's say you only wanted to have the price and the description exported. You would just unmark everything else, and the list price and description would be the only fields that would be exported out. For right now, let's keep it the same. Have everything checked and choose next. So then you're presented with the type of operations that are going to be performed in this export. Select create and select finish. Now if you want to go see a status, so here's our AdventureWorks catalog, and every so often this is pulled, and then the status shows now as complete. Let's go take a look at our XML file. and the XML file looks something like this. Now notice that we had said we wanted to export the schema, and all of the schemas are available here. Next, we had said that we wanted to export the AdventureWorks catalog, which is here, and here's all of the categories. For example, here's the sleeping bag, boots. So here's all of the categories, and if we go further down, we'll notice that there are products that are available to us and all its properties here. For example, here's a rock shoe, its properties, its price, an image. And since we only said we wanted to export out the English language, that's the only languages available here for the multilingual properties. So let's go back to our catalog set view. So by selecting a catalog, you can also create a new category. Notice that this is very wizard based. As you go to different windows by creating a new catalog or creating a new category, everything is wizard based. So here there's the definition that you can select, properties you can fill, and select next. And so you can enter some other additional information, where this belongs, product association, add products there, category relationships, and then your displayed description, a summary of what's going to be happening. So let's not create that. Creating new virtual catalog, you saw how you do that. Creating a new base catalog, it's very similar to what we created for the virtual catalog. Here you would be selecting the product information, the different catalog languages you can associate here, and finally a summary page of what actions will be performed. And finally you can actually delete this. So we had an overview of the catalog and its features, and we had a review of the catalog manager, how to edit them, and how to refresh the site cache so you can see it on the site. So now this concludes our demo. So now we know what catalogs and categories are, as well as products. A catalog definition is what defines a catalog. We saw earlier in our demo that there were some built-in properties, and these properties define the catalog. The same is true for a category. We saw categories that had properties, and you can do the same thing with products, and they'll have definitions. In each definition for category and products can be named something very specific and meaningful. Catalog properties. These properties are the smallest units in the catalog, and these units, these properties, they make up a product definition and a category definition, as well as the catalog definition. Not only do these properties make up these definitions, they also can be used for the catalog metadata to describe additional features within the catalog. These properties can be also multilingual, and they can have other characteristics with them. So let's take a look at another demo of these features we just talked about. So to create definitions, we're going to use the catalog and inventory schema manager. So as you can see, this UI is pretty similar to Catalog Manager. You have tasks and views in a detail pane that shows some of the details of the views. If I click on property definition, I have all my properties available to me. If I select the product definition, I have all of the product definition as well as the category definitions. So let's take a look at the smallest units that make up the definitions and definitions for products and categories, as well as the catalog. So if you take a look at these products, some of these products are built in and some of them are the default schema that's available. Let's maximize this so you can see that there are multiple pages to this, so there's additional properties here. I'm going to just look at some of the built-in properties. So there are some properties that are built in within the catalog system. You cannot create other properties that have the same name. They need to be, they're pretty unique. So for example, you can create a property called currency. You have to name it something different because there's something that's already built in within the catalog system. But there are some properties that are not built in, and these are the AdventureWorks properties that we have been taking a look at. For example, some of the products have on sale properties, the product code and the product color. Here's the variant code that was used for the identifying marker for the AdventureWorks catalog. So these properties here can be actually, let's go to edit one of these properties. So this is the variant code. This variant code was a number, and there are some additional properties. This is the metadata that you can apply to this property that defines what the property is. And then the display name. Notice that our language had multiple languages, German, English, French, and Japanese. So you could actually change the display name here for the variant code. Let's choose a property that has some language properties. So if you notice that the display name for name is different for each language. When you look at the catalog manager and you see this property and you change that language of value on the catalog, this is the field that will be populated into the catalog manager and display that. So here we have our catalog manager. If we go into a product that has name as one of the descriptions, so here we have name. Notice that name here in English is name. If we change it to French, it's nom. So let's actually go ahead and change this language to French. And notice that this description for this value has changed. You can also specify default values for this if you want to. So there is an additional property. This is a metadata that was created that has the display on site. Specification searchable. If it can be, there are multiple ways that you can search for to search in a catalog for specific products or variants and categories. If you mark it free text searchable, this is using the SQL free text search on the property. Specification search is another way to search. It's like a guided search is what it's called. And then you could also use keyword search using a where clause, where the property name equals a specific value and can be returned. The minimum length, it has to have at least 1 character, and the maximum is 200 characters, assigned to all product types. So what this means is that when you create a product definition, and if this value has been marked, this property would automatically be added into your definition. Stored data for analysis. This is used for the data warehouse and analytics. If you check this mark, then this property will be available in the reports. Is required. If you make this required field, it means that it has to be part of the product. Display as base property. What this means is that if you go into our product, and then there are 2 tabs here that display specific properties for our product. By marking this display base property, we are just telling the catalog manager to display the property in the base property tab. If this value was unchecked, then it would be displayed under this grid custom properties field. So for example, here we have on sale and product size. So if you were to go to one of those properties, for example on sale, and notice that this is not marked as display as base property, and therefore it will be displayed in this grid as the custom property. So if you were to go to create a property, you could create a number, big number, decimal, boolean, text, date, time. So these are the different types of properties that are available to you. You cannot extend these properties. These are what you get out of the box. You have to choose one of these properties to continue to create your property. You can also choose long text. In SQL, when you choose text in SQL, the underlying data is in varchar. If you choose long text, it'll be in text. So if you give it some value here, then you can specify this to be multilingual. By specifying this as a multilingual property, what will happen is that if you change the language setting here, you can then overwrite the description and the name with the language value that you have specified. Display on site. This is a meta property that you can choose, and this is not an automatic thing where the APIs will not automatically display this on site. You have to do this programmatically by checking, say, you get a product and then you look at all its property and find out if this property test is displayable on site. If it is, then you can display it on site. These are the search values that you can mark as searchable. Minimum linked to a maximum linked. Let's create this was 10. Assigned to all products. Store this for analysis. Now we're not going to store this value. Display in product list. So basically what this is this the same as having display on site. And is this a required field? If we had a default value, well, this is right now disabled, and display this as base property if we wanted to show it in the base property on the grid tab. Since we selected this to be multilingual, we can have the different language description for this property, as well as if you have default value. Now the reason that this default value is disabled is that we selected this to be a multilingual value. By selecting this as multilingual value, the default value for each language is modified. So once you create these properties that make up a product, and basically these properties would describe what a product is, and that would become a product definition. So for example, if you go to the boots definition, notice that it has these properties that are created that describe what the product is. And then also the variants that it has variants in here. Same is true for the other properties. And not all properties have to be as part of a definition. Categories, the same thing. It has the specific properties that describe this definition. You can add additional properties here to extend the schema. And these tasks, as you move from object to object, you have different tasks available to you. So let's discuss how you can extend, for example, the catalog properties, so you can add additional data in here. So for example, let's say that our scenario is that we want to associate a catalog with a warehouse number. We don't have that field here available to us, and in order to get that be visible, we have to use the catalog schema manager. First thing we need to do is create a property. Let's create this as a text. Continue, and we'll have this as a warehouse number. Give it as text. We don't need it as multilingual. Don't need to display it on site. Doesn't need to be searchable. It's between 1 and 20 characters. We don't want to assign it to products. We don't need to store this for analysis either. Don't display it in list. It's not required. And that's pretty much it. So let's save and close this. So let's edit the catalog metadata. So these are all the built-in properties. Notice that we have our warehouse number here. If I associate this, now it's going to become part of the catalog metadata. Save and close this. Let's do a refresh. Let's go to our catalog manager. Do a refresh. And edit our properties. And notice now that we have a warehouse number that we can put in here. So the reason that error was given to us is because it's requiring a language name here. So this is okay, so now that's the value saved, and if you come back to it, there's our value. Now, how can you extend the metadata of the property? Let's say we want to right now we want to create an additional property, and the scenario is that you want the product to be displayable as part of the search. So let's create a new property definition. We'll make this a Boolean. We're not going to display this on site. Assign this to all product types. No. Is required. No. There's no default value. And displays base property. Okay. So all we're going to create is this display in search. Save and close. So now I can go and open the metabase property, or excuse me, edit the metabase, and then assign our display and search, and save and close. Click refresh. So the UI in the schema manager does not display the metadata. It's not dynamic like it is in Catalog Manager. But if this was designed to be dynamic, my property would be shown up here, so I can modify this. And there is no source code for the catalog and schema manager, so you can't modify this to make it dynamic so that it can display your metadata information. You would have to do it using your code to do that, and I will show you how to do that when we go into the API section of the catalog metadata. So the metadata is pretty much the same thing that we did with inventory of, with the catalog. You can do the same thing with the inventory SKUs as well. And there's going to be another whole video tutorial section that's going to discuss the inventory system, and all of that will be discussed there. So in this video demo, we went over the category definitions, product definitions, and the property definition that make up the catalog, the categories, and the products, and how this metadata can be extended, and how the catalog manager displays as well as the site using these properties that we have. And this concludes this demo.